Sports OTHP family for tuning in, liking our stuff, sharing our stuff, engaging in our posts, because we had some great conversations today after the Jay Gruden firing, which you know I'm going to have something to talk about. Excuse me. Excuse me. I've been celebrating a little bit with the fireman of Jay Gruden, so I already cracked a couple of adult beverages. So no telling what might happen in this hour before first pitch of the Nationals game. We also going to talk some Capitals. We got Anna Kay on the line. We're going to talk some Mystics who ended up winning Game 3, going up 2-1 with the chance to close out the WNBA Finals tomorrow night. We'll definitely talk about that also. And we got to talk about the Nationals and the unfortunate loss yesterday, and hopefully the game tonight that continues this series and hopefully makes me a prophet again, because I said Nats in 5. So we're hoping for that. But let me go ahead and digress and dig in a little bit on this Redskins talk, because we went into the post game last night, but we're not really going to talk about too much about the game, because we did that in the post game. We all saw a 33-7. Redskins look like they looked all season. They finally pulled the trigger, fired Jay Gruden this morning, which, if you tuned in yesterday on the pregame and postgame, if you read my article from 2 weeks ago, if you read my article from 2 years ago, when I put it down to be on the record that Bill Callahan would be taking over this team. 2 years ago, I wanted him to be the offensive coordinator because I was trying to be optimistic and think Jay would finally get it about being an NFL coach. But after we saw the first week of this season giving up 25 unanswered points with the same ineffective, inconsistent offense, so we've seen the same thing through the whole season, through the first 5 games. It was time for a change. Now, granted, it was the Patriots, and a lot of folks are, saying, well, that shouldn't have, determined if he was going to get fired. The Patriots are the Patriots. This is what we've seen throughout Jay's tenure as Redskins head coach. He hasn't changed. He lost the locker room, I feel, in week 1 when he benched AP because he chose to do that. Never been benched a day in his career. 11-year veteran, potential first ballot Hall of Famer, and he decides to bench him because he feels that he doesn't fit his offense. That right there started it all with the video getting leaked and the report coming out about him not wanting Haskins. I believe the writing was on the wall for him to be taken out on Monday, which had happened. And I just want to say to all the folks that told me I was wrong, I didn't know what I was talking about. You're not on the big networks. You don't know. Look, it doesn't matter if you're on the big networks. It matters that you know sports, you know what you're talking about. And that's what we do. It's DC Sports, where the politics is not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do on the regular, every day. You see the posts. You see the information we're putting out there. We've been on the record for years, and we've been correct more times than we've been wrong. But y'all haters and doubters, keep it up. I love it. It inspires me, and I'm going to keep on going. Now, that's enough of that. I'm not going to harp on that. I could, though. Don't be surprised to see a Facebook Live somewhere later on this week. But let's go ahead and get ready to get anything. Let's see if we got Robbie G on the line. I know we got Brian Brennan in the man cave ready to talk some baseball. I know we got Anna Kay ready to talk some Capitals hockey. So let's see. Robbie G, you on the line there, my friend?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Maybe not yet. Well,
wait. There. Am I? Sorry. I double muted myself.
An episode isn't an episode until you mute yourself, Robbie. Everything is going to be complete now.
It's true. We needed that luck. Some of that didn't happen last week with the lack of blog talk, so I can't mute myself. But we're back to it, so that's good. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm just about to share some of my stuff here. I'm live over at twitch.tv/RobbieG_SportsOTHP. So people can check out my feed from there. I also think that it's streaming live on SportsOTHP's Facebook page as well. So hopefully that's working. Yeah, it's a good day for us because finally we got rid of Jay Gruden, which is something that we've talked about a lot. But let's get into hockey talk first. But we'll have a ton of topics, whether it be hockey, baseball. We've got some Mystics to talk about, also some DC United. Lots of topics to talk about, but I know that Anna is on the line, so I'll let you guys start with that, and then I'll share it to a couple of groups.
plan. Let me go ahead and bring in Anna Kay. Let's see if everything is working correctly. Here we have Anna Kay coming back for another season of Capitals hockey coverage. Things have gone so beautifully that we said, let's bring her back for another season because we had a good time and might as well do it again. Anna, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, and I'm honored to be back for another season with you guys, although I feel your pain with the Jay Gruden. If you recall, my Niners went through a ton of coaches themselves, so been there, done that, and, can only hope for the best for you guys from now on, and let's, go Niners tonight for Monday Night Football. That's okay. I am here to talk about this Washington Capitals.
Yes, indeed. The hockey season is here. Finally, we get some good hockey. Caps already starting out 2-0-1. They took an unfortunate loss to Carolina. I didn't get to see that game. I was a little upset when I saw the final score because they jumped out to a lead, and I thought it was going to be another Capitals victory, but unfortunately, they did not do that. So, Anna, I'll let you go ahead and break down some of these these first three games, and let's talk about them.
All righty. So last Wednesday, the Caps kicked off their season against St. Louis Blues, and they, of course, had their banner-raising celebration, which was interesting because a lot of people on social media found it quite boring, which just shows how awesome the Capitals players and fans are, because I thought our banner-raising was emotional and fantastic and really got everybody riled up. Not so much there, but that's okay. So their first period, the Blues did score within the first 53 seconds, and followed by a power play goal at 7:55, giving them a 2-0 lead. But then our captain scored. His first goal was assisted by Carlson and Eller at 15:57 to close out the first period. And this was one of those moments, again, on social media where people were taking bets on who was going to be the first Capital player to score. I had my money on Brana, but here you go with Alex Ovechkin. You never disappoint. He's just fantastic. Second period only had one goal, and it was a power play goal from Orlov, assisted by Jensen and Eller, tied up 2-2. There were no goals in the third, but going into overtime, here we go with Jacob Bronner scoring his first goal of the season at 2:51, assisted by Carlson and Oshie, making it the first W for the Capitals. And I loved this game. I thought they came out strong, and I thought that we didn't have any issues with let's get the nerves out, get this out. No, they came out ready to play, and I love that, and I love the fact that there was minimal penalties, because that always takes away from a huge part of the game. And shots on goal, you have 34 for the Capitals, 22 for the Blues, so it was good. I think Holtby looked good, the players looked good, everyone felt that vibe of, okay, it's hockey season, and they all looked healthy, and I think it was a good way to start off.
Definitely, I agree. It was a good game to watch, especially with it being the first game. The whole banner raising, I didn't even really watch it. I turned it on right after when finished. Yeah, I'd rather just see the Capitals raise the banner, and that's it. I can't watch anybody else do it after we saw what we saw. I'm spoiled now. I don't want to see anybody else do it. But it was definitely an entertaining game. It was definitely, for it being the first game of the season, it was physical. They showed chemistry and showed, I didn't really see too many breakdowns. I didn't see any odd man rushes. The penalty kill was solid when they had to kill some off. And it was definitely that first goal by Ovi was lovely. The way he faked the shot, dipped inside, and then caught the goalie slipping. It was beautiful. Ovi's going to be Ovi, and he's starting out the season the way he always does, scoring goals and doing his thing. And it's just good to see the team coming out the gate looking good, playing good hockey, especially with some of the younger guys that got in the lineup now.
Absolutely. And I don't know, Robbie, if you had a chance to watch the game, but I don't think there was anybody that I had like a, hey, this person was fantastic and this person wasn't great. I thought that they looked good across the board.
Yeah, I did get to watch some of it. I was actually at a really cool concert downtown, but I love the NBC app because you can watch it in between acts, and it was great. The concert let out right as the third period was sort of getting into crunch time, and I was able to watch that into that game went to overtime, right? Yeah, I was able to watch over the third period in overtime on the Metro home because I was taking it the right way, going towards Glenmont, and it was above ground, which was great. And so I got to watch that. And then right as I got to my car, they scored Verona scored that game-winning goal. So I got to celebrate in the parking lot. People gave me a couple of looks, but I was very excited, and so that was great. And I just thought, what a gutsy performance! It's hard to deal with some of those nerves and the energy in the building. I mean, remember we just took it to Boston last year, so for us to take those first two goals and to come back, force an overtime, and to get a win, I thought was pretty exciting.
Absolutely, and I think that first 51 seconds into the first period goal for the Blues was to be expected. I don't think anybody was truly surprised. Like you said, they've got that adrenaline rush going, and everyone's going kind of crazy. But I thought it was a great game. It was very, very smart hockey on the Caps end, which it's always great to see. People, I know people can sometimes say that the first couple of games the players look sloppy or out of sync, and I didn't see that, which says that they've been practicing together. And like Carol said, that chemistry is definitely showing, which is fantastic.
For sure.
And agree with you more. Let's go ahead and get into that second game, and that was another good game to watch.
It was. So on Friday, the Caps headed to New York to take on the Islanders, and it all very hot. Gm4 scores his first at 10:25 with assists by Eller and Guden, followed by a goal from the Islanders to tie it up 1-1. And then we have the only goal in the second period, just like the last time, from TJ Oshie. And it's brilliant wraparound power play goal assisted by Carlson and Backstrom. That is actually Carlson's third assist back from first, so he's off to a hot start, which is great. No goals in the third, but then we finally introduced Samsonov to his first game, and I have no complaints. I know I was really kind of pushing the Phoenix Copley card before. This kid did not disappoint. He was intense. He was quick. He had skills. And when we saw, the fact that, yes, they won 2-1, the celebration for his first win in the NHL was just amazing to see. The players just really embraced him, especially Holtby, which is always great to see how much they support each other. But this kid's got talent.
I totally agree. Me and Robbie we discussed that offline about Copley clearing waivers going to Hershey, and with Holtby's contract, and he might be gone next year. Bringing in Samsonov. He's been a highly touted goalie for a while down in the AHL. I think he was on a 2015 draft pick, and it's kind of the same story with Holtby. He was stellar down in the AHL, and when it was time for him to take over, he got a chance to, and he showed his stuff. And the story is the story. He is Vezina Trophy winning Stanley Cup champion. Braden Holtby. So, I mean, unfortunately, with the salary cap and the way things go, and hoping this might be his last season with the Caps. Robbie knows more about the salary cap with the hockey than I do, so he was trying to break it all down to.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Real quickly, I'll break down the fact that Seattle's going to enter the league. We'll only be able to protect one of them. Holtby could potentially ask for almost $10 million a year based on some of these other contracts that are out there. We obviously need to sign a Nicholas Backstrom as well. I think he is more important, just in the sense that he's meant more to the team over a longer period. So I'd like him to end as a capital. So with that, we got to see what we have with Samsonov. So I thought it was smart. And really good move by the GM to sort of play cat and mouse and not say who they were going to put down into the minor leagues, and do it right when everyone had sort of figured out their cap situation and all the goalies were kind of healthy. So it was in a time where he could pass down through waivers, which I thought was very smart. And so it's great because if Samsonov ends up not working out, you could still call Phoenix back up. But if you need to protect one of the two, if you give Holtby a huge contract, it forces Seattle to make a decision. Are you going to want to pay $10 million for your goalie to take Holtby off our hands, and we've got a young guy in the future? So it opens up a lot of opportunities. But the idea was Samsonov was originally going to be looked at for next year for goalie, but I think the team needed to see what they had, and then I just feel like he put together a really great camp, and he proved that he deserved at least a shot at it. And I thought it was really interesting to see Varlamov, our old Russian goalie, versus Samsonov, our new Russian goalie, in an interesting matchup. So that was fun to see. Yeah, for sure. But the reason he is because he was third on the depth chart for over there in Colorado. So the writing was on the wall. So they kind of just his contract was over anyway, I think, and so the Islanders picked him up. I'm not even sure he's the starting goaltender for the Islanders. I think he's their backup. So, but it was definitely good to get a win. Getting 2 wins, especially after playing in overtime just 2 days earlier, was big, especially knowing that you're going to go against the Hurricanes in the next game, and you're going to be tired. So to sort of get some extra points before you had to play that third game, I thought was really key.
Very true, very true. Let's go ahead and break down that third game since we get close to the top of the hour, close to the first pitch. I'm also watching the Braves and St. Louis NLDS game. The Braves are up 4-3 in the top of the 7th. Look like Acuna's got on. He's on third with 1 out. Braves looking to add to the lead and try to end this series today. Hopefully the Nats will have a better outcome tonight and tie the series and force them to go to LA.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, I'm pulling for you guys on this one. It's been exciting, but having lived in LA, I tell you, I was never ever an Anaheim or a Dodgers fan. So 100% pulling for the Nats. So I'll go ahead and wrap up this Canes game because we knew it was going to be intense going in, and it definitely did not disappoint. So on Saturday, the Capitals finally kicked off their home opener against Carolina. Hello?
Ooh, you broke up for a second.
Okay. So in the first period,
we had a little interference there.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
Hey, it's internet radio and it's live. You know how it goes.
Big brother, right? All right. So we'll say in the first period that Hathaway scored his first NHL goal with Capitals at 17:23, assisted by Leipzig. And then the second period was again, there we have PJ Oshie with assists by Abrana and Gudis. Third period, unfortunately, was all the Canes, and they tied it up to have us go into overtime. And at 4:04, the Canes scored, and the Caps lose 3-2. The face, I don't know. I'm kind of on the cusp, and I would love to know your guys' opinion on the face-offs being better than last year, but they're still not super great. Power play, big weakness that I'm hoping we can, that as the team continues to play, especially against Dallas and Nashville this week, that the numbers don't come out like 0-4 and 1-4. And we definitely saw more penalties against the Carolina team. And I think as fans, we knew this was coming. This is a huge rivalry. I'm seeing it bigger than the Pens in the future for sure. But there was a lot of animosity on that between these two teams, and unfortunately, we didn't come out with the win, but that's okay. It was definitely a 60 minutes of hockey that the fans wanted to see.
Yeah, definitely Carolina's going to be a tough matchup there. Aggressive team, a big team, and they take away time and space, and we saw that in the playoffs last year, and we know that there's going to be a tough matchup with them. It's unfortunately he took the home loss in overtime. He still got a point, but you definitely don't want to lose at home, especially on your home opener. Now about the power play, well, you have to remember Kuzi isn't out there yet. So once Kuzi gets there, then everybody be in their position, and then we'll probably see the power play start to get back to what we're used to. And it's still early in the season. So, you know it's going to come, so that shouldn't even, be a concern. We know how good this team is on the power play, all the skill that they have, all the options that they have. So that's not really even I'm not even worried about that. I know it's going to come together once Kuzi gets back. And, like I said, Carolina is definitely going to be a bigger rivalry, especially with them putting the Caps out last year when they were trying to repeat and the way they did, Game 7 and all of that good stuff. TJ Oshie got hurt. So that's definitely going to be a heated rivalry, a heated series this whole season. The Pens Caps, only time I think that's really serious is when it's playoffs. Regular season, we know what we're going to get. We're used to seeing Sid and Ovi going at it year after year, but I don't think it picks up until playoffs. But this Carolina series was Carolina team with the way that they play and how aggressive they are, you can still, be like, I'm going to just play a regular game. But once you get checked a couple times to the glass and get some elbows and stuff that the refs don't call, is automatically going to ramp up and bring those old playoff feelings back. And the next thing you know, you got a heated game going.
Absolutely. And they're
what is your yeah, that too. Robbie, did you have a take on this game? I know I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was working, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was unfortunately I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I was out and about, but I did catch parts of the game. I was disappointed. I didn't get to watch the very end of it, so I didn't get to watch overtime. But it's obviously disappointing to lose to the Hurricanes, but to be able to walk away with 5 points in 4 days, I think is still something to be excited about. And Carolina right now is the top team in the entire league, which is, I know, surprising to some people, but they've got a very good team, even without a Justin Williams. So, it's been a good start of the season for them. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep it up, but people quickly forget that they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, so they're not a team to slouch on.
No doubt. Let's quickly go through the games on tap and get ready to get to some Mystics talk before we get into baseball talk.
Yep, I got the games right here. So it's an interesting week ahead. The Stars play at the Capitals tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So it's Tuesday if you're not listening to us live. And then they go to Nashville on Thursday. So again, Washington at Nashville. It's an 8 o'clock start on Thursday, 10:10. And then on Saturday, the 12th, they go to Dallas and play the Stars, and that's another 8 o'clock start. And I will mention those are the 3 games of this week, but technically there's going to be a game before our podcast starts next week. There's a 5 o'clock start to a game, but we'll break in with any news in that one as we start our show probably at the normal time next week at 7. So I won't get into previewing that game too much now, but we'll start with you, Carol. What are your thoughts on playing the Stars twice, once in Washington tomorrow and once in Dallas on Saturday, and then also playing the Predators?
That's the interesting schedule. Dallas, for some reason, the Capitals always have problems with at home or on the road. So this is definitely going to be an early season test. I don't know what it is. No matter how good or bad Dallas is, they always play the Capitals. I guess they just match up with the Capitals or whatever it is. But it's definitely going to be key games to see how this team is playing, especially with Kuzi coming back. And then Nashville, we know Petra Rene and, that damn Forsberg trade. I'm still hating that he's down there doing the damn thing. But it's definitely going to be, 2 solid teams, 3 games. They should be able to go 2-1, continue with the streak that they're on, 2-1 in the first 3 games. 2 out of 3 shouldn't be too bad to start the season. That'd be 4-2. Hey, I take that.
Yeah, if anything, it'd be 4-2 or 4-1-1, right? Because one's an overtime.
1-1, yeah.
So
overtime loss always.
Yeah, but I'll take it. I put it in a different category because I'll take the point any day. So. But yeah, no, it should be exciting. Anna, what are some of your thoughts on the matchups?
play Dallas. I don't know if it's just because it does seem like an equal rivalry. There's not a ton of animosity, but I do feel like they've got strong players. But I don't believe they've had a very good preseason. I kind of feel like if I saw something, it was, I don't even know if they won a game in the preseason, or with the season starting, I should say. So this will be good. They coming here, I think the game should be ours. I think they're coming off this Carolina loss, and they're going to be ready to go. I, however, feel completely different about Nashville. I absolutely hate this team. They just get under my skin, so do the fans. It's going to be tough. That to me, of the three games, even though, yes, they're playing Dallas twice, it's the Nashville game that concerns me the most. Still a lot of animosity, still a lot of, just heated moments between players and whatever, and the fans. So I see smart, fast, good hockey, not a lot of penalties with Dallas, but I do see penalties. I do see someone, Guden, Wilson, somebody dropping the gloves at Nashville for sure. And I kind of agree with you, Carol. I think, out of the three games, 2 out of 3 would be awesome with me.
Sounds good. Well, Anna, let the folks know where they can find you at before we switch up to some mystics, before we get into some baseball talk. Apparently, the Braves have the bases loaded, top of the 7th, 2 outs, 0-2 pitch. And did he get it? Look, came up short. Braves, strand 3, long fly ball to left field. St. Louis still down by 1, going to the bottom of the 7th. And let the folks know where they can find you for all that great hockey coverage you guys bring.
Absolutely. So I'm at the Power Play Point podcast. You can find us on Facebook, on Podbean, Apple iTunes. We are there. Hopefully our show that we recorded yesterday will be out tomorrow. You guys have also been awesome enough to add the link on your Facebook page, which we always appreciate. And, I'm going to let you guys do the rest of that DC Sports. Let's go Mystic, go Nats. And I do have to throw in a go Niners for tonight.
Well, I wish you the best.
I got Kittle going as my tight end in fantasy football, and I'm down a lot of points. So, go Niners. Just get Kittle like 6 touchdowns so I can win.
That works for me because I'm in second place in my football pool against my two brother-in-laws. And I'm like, I need the Niners to win, and then I'll be in first place. So let's hope, and I'm rooting for them regardless. So I hope you guys really get a pull for the Nats tonight. It would be fantastic to see them, especially against an LA team. So thanks again for having me on, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week.
Sounds good. And
have a good night. See you later.
And I do want to remind people that if you go to SportsOTHP.com, as Anna was mentioning, we do have a link that has all of their episodes right there. So SportsOTHP.com, click the Power Play Point podcast link. You'll get all of Anna and Gil's great content, as well as you can check out articles written by Dugenet by clicking on that button. We've got all of our old podcasts. You can hear Carol talk about, Redskins should fire Jay Gruden for, years. So that's good. And thank you. Sorry, I got a baby crying. I've got horns going. It's a rough time over here in the man cave. It's
I didn't know what happened.
Yeah. So anyway, well, we'll switch to Mystics talk here. I'm gonna switch the graphics so we can start talking about some of that stuff. So, Carol, why don't you let us know how those 2 Mystics games went?
All right, let's go ahead and do a quick WNBA Finals wrap-up. The Mystics are ahead of the Connecticut Sun, 2-1 lead. Yesterday, they had a 94-81 victory where Elena Deladon came back. She left game 2 with back spasms and was diagnosed with a herniated disc. They had 4 games off in between game 2 and game 3, which worked in the Mystics' favor because her presence on the court, even though she she wasn't a leading scorer as she normally is, her presence on the court definitely helped this team and paved the way for this team to win. Just a quick recap of the first games of the series. Game 1 was a 95-86 victory by the Mystics. Game 2, in which she got hurt, was a 99-87 win by Connecticut. And Game 3, as I said, was a 94-81 win. The team shot 51% from the field, 59% from three-point range. They out-rebounded Connecticut 34-27, and they had 20 assists on 34 shots. The leading scorer of the game is my girl, Christy Tolliver, 20 points, 2 rebounds, and 10 assists. Emma Misamin, she had 21 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. And Natasha Cloud had 19 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 block. Elena Deladon, I believe, had 16 points and 4 rebounds and 2 assists in a little over 30 minutes in the game. You know, they want to keep her fresh. They got her out of the game. I ain't going to say they got her out of the game early. It was competitive to the end, but Mystics pretty much prevailed, did their thing. They have a chance to close out tomorrow at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on ESPN2 in Connecticut, and that will be the Mystics' first WNBA championship in their 21-year franchise history. And hopefully, we will be having a championship parade, which I and Robbie, possibly both of us, one of us, all of us, I don't know, but we definitely will be there and bring you some coverage of it.
Sounds good. Yeah, I was happy to see that she was able to gut it out and really lead the team. She had a block and just all around just was able to contribute. It doesn't have to necessarily be scoring, but just to even have her out there to help space out the court, draws a lot of attention away from some of these other players that were knocking down the three-point bucket. So, sometimes having an MVP caliber person, they don't have to play to that MVP level for them to still be effective. And my theory was if she didn't play, they had no chance in this series. Even if she plays at 50%, they have a shot. So I think that's really the key for the Mystics. And so again, as Carol was saying, Game 4, Mystics at the Suns are tomorrow. It's at 8 o'clock. All these games are on ESPN, the Uno, as we call it. If it goes to a Game 5, it will be in Washington on Thursday, 8 p.m. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, maybe Carol could go live or something from the game. So either way, we'll definitely let you guys know next week, and we'll have, I'm sure, a Facebook Live if they're able to win it all, where we'll, and all the latest news can be found, as always, on facebook.com/SportsOTHP, or search Sports on the Hill Podcast on Facebook, SportsOTHP on Twitter and Instagram. You can also find stuff there. And now you can find us on a bunch of other platforms as well, as we are broadcasting live on Twitch if you're a little bit late to the start. And also, you can find us at SportsOTHP.com. You got all the great articles that Carol's been writing, as well as all these great shows and more. So I think that's it for our Mystics coverage. Carol, are you ready for me to bring in Brian Brennan here in the Man Cave, and we'll get into some baseball talk?
Yes, sir. That's definitely good because, like I said, I'm watching the Braves St. Louis game. Let's go ahead and talk about these Nets and talk about Game 3 of the NLDS.
Sounds good. Well, before we start, I'm going to let Brian do a quick shout-out. He's wearing his Yankees gear. Just let the people know how the Yankees did in their first 2 games.
The Yankees won their first 2 games. They have a 2-0 lead against the Minnesota Twins. Game 3 is tonight at 8:40. Hopefully the Yankees can get the sweep. We'll see what happens. Tampa Bay beat Houston today, so anything can happen. Maybe they can force a Game 4, but the Yankees have absolutely dominated the Twins all time, really. They've just owned the Twins. They think they've won 13 games in a row against them or something crazy. And so hopefully it continues tonight. And we'll see about the Nats tonight, too. It should be a great night of baseball going forward.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm pulling up the schedule right now. For some reason, my OBS glitched, but luckily I saved things as backups. I now have the schedule up. If you're following live on Twitch, again, it's twitch.tv/RobbieG_SportsOTHP. I'm also streaming it on our Facebook page, so you can check us out on our Facebook page as well if you want to see my producer stream with some additional stats. And right now you can see the schedule. So, Carol, when we last left off, it was before 4 games that have now happened. So it was before the wild card game, in fact. So take us back to that big, sort of surprising victory over the Brewers.
Well, we're not going to rehash all the way back with this NLDS season DVDs, but it was definitely a game to watch. I was in the lab, nervous. I had to switch some TVs with the game, and then I was watching on the app because things weren't going well. The Nats were down 3-1 when Juan Soto comes up to the plate, bases loaded, bottom of the eighth. Nats down to their last 4 outs of their possible season, and he has a great at bat, hits an RBI double into a 2-run RBI double into the gap. The right fielder misplayed it, overplayed it. The ball gets past him. Rendon scores from first. Nats take a 4-3 lead, and the rest is history into the NLDS. But going back to the beginning of the season when we spoke about, we were talking about Bryce leaving and the impact on the team, and when they were 12 games under 500. Myself and Paul, we were still on. We was telling folks, this team is different. They're going through adversity. They're going to find a way, and they are finding a way to win. So that's why this game right here, to me, has a different feel because this team has had their back against the wall for a while when they were so far under 500 that they got that playoff feel throughout most of the second half of the season. So with Matt taking the mound tonight, we're hoping for the same performance we saw when he came out the bullpen in Game 2, when they took Game 2, the series which we're going to talk about in a little while. But it's definitely going to be a classic game tonight, and I can't wait for it. So, Robbie, did you want to break down the games game by game? We can break them down, or you just want to go ahead and talk about what we might see tonight?
We can do a little bit of a game by game, not too long, but then get into what we're doing today. One little comment about the Brewers game before we let that one go, because it is a really important win. Because in my mind, all they had to do was get past the wild card and get one, division series win for it to be a successful season. And there's a question that's put around on a lot of different radio stations. What do you consider a successful season for the Nationals, right? Because at the beginning of the season, didn't look like they were even going to make the playoffs. I didn't think that just winning the wild card by itself was enough if they were ending up getting swept. Even by a great team like the Dodgers, I felt like that, what's the point to get to the next round and not even win a game, right? Yeah. So I kind of felt like they needed to win at least one game. But back to that Brewers game for just that 1 second, do you think Soto was right to try to get caught in the rundown? Because some people thought, oh man, he should stay on second, get a chance to get a couple of additional runs there, to try to pad that lead a little bit more. He said after the game that it was actually by design. He wanted to distract them and maybe have them screw up that, the throw in, and there's a lot of advantages there because it's like, oh, we can at least get the sure out, but then it kind of alleviates, a play at the plate. Carol, what were your thoughts on that?
I really wasn't too concerned about it. It definitely could have came back to bite him, especially with the way the bullpen has let him down in the past. But, I just think he was caught up in the emotion with the ball getting past him, Rendon getting home. He could have, stayed there. We had actually a base running blunder in last night's game that I'm definitely going to break down a little bit before we start talking about tonight's game. But I really can't fault him. Bottom of the eighth, you get the lead. All you got to do is get 3 more outs. It could have came back to bite him, but fortunately, Daniel Hudson handled his business in that bottom of the ninth and got the out. And, the Nats were able to move on. We can always nitpick and go back, look in hindsight. But, emotion of the game, caught up in the game, they might have thought they were going to go home trying to get Rendon and maybe even get the third with 2 outs and maybe, get another run across, because that's the other thing that, the Nats are the team, led the majors in 2-out scoring. And, he got that hit with 2 outs. So, maybe he was trying to get the third and maybe see if another hit could have got another run in. So, we can look at it and, look at the negative of it, or try to look at the bad of it. But, I look at it as he was caught up in it. Maybe he was thinking, get the third, they're going to throw it home to try to get Rendon, and got caught up. But, hey, they won the game. He came through in the clutch, and they're fighting for their playoff life tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll quickly do the Dodgers Nats first game. That one was a little bit more of what I was afraid might happen. It's sort of a 6-0 shellacking. We put Corbin on the mound, who had been historically really good against the Dodgers. but he looked a little bit shaky. He looked like he had never pitched a playoff game before, he hadn't. Real quickly, Carol, what's your thoughts on that one? We'll definitely break down Game 2 more.
Well, with me, I was watching it from the start to the end. He got the first 2 out. And then next thing is like he lost his release point, and then he walked 3 straight batters. And luckily, he only gave up 1 run. That's in the game. But mentioned that he hadn't been in the playoffs before, so that is a pressure situation. But it's like Game 3 we're going to talk about when he came in relief. You know, he got 2 outs, but he couldn't get that 3rd out, you know, to avoid any runs given up. Last night was a lot worse than the one he gave up in Game 1. But, you know, it happens, especially with someone in the playoffs for the first time, starting, you know, Game 1, bright lights, LA, against the perennial World Series contenders, maybe, you know, pressure got to him, but it throws me off because the first 2 outs that he got were strikeouts. So it's like he had the control, he had the location, and all of a sudden it just went out the window. So, I mean, it happens sometimes with pitchers. Luckily, he got his release point back, and he pitched a decent game until he came out, and then, you know, the Dodgers, being the Dodgers, got some late runs, you know, off the bullpen. But for the most part, he pitched decent enough for the Nats to win that game if they could have did something against Buehler. But Buehler was, you know, Buehler. He was been having a stellar season, and he was at the Nats guessing the whole way.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair to Corbin, he left the game, I believe it was 2-0. So it was still, like, anybody could have, you know, that's not a bad performance,
Bullpen
especially
kinda
against
gave it up.
the Dodgers. Yeah, it was definitely the bullpen, which has been our Achilles heel all season. In fact, I saw this stat and I didn't quite realize it. The Nationals are the worst in history bullpen ERA ever to make the playoffs.
Jeez.
So, like, I mean, worst ever. And so I can understand why they keep on going back to starting pitching, because, like, they thought they had addressed it, and what's scary is it's better now than it was at the beginning of the season. And I feel like those numbers in the beginning of the season even dragged it down further. But so over the last couple of months, they've been better, but still not to the point where you trust them against the Dodgers hitting. So I thought they put together a better game plan in Game 2. Obviously, there was some questions about putting Strauss on, you know, some short rest because he did pitch in relief.
In the wild card game.
Yeah. No, he
pitched in relief in the wild card game.
Yeah.
Strasburg did, and Scherzer started the wild card game.
Right. That was what it was. So yeah. You know, to use both of them in bullpen situations is obviously throws them off of their rhythm a bit. But I thought that I was really happy with what we saw from Strauss in that game. Help break down some of that Game 2 4-2 win.
You said it all. Strasburg was dominant. I believe he only gave up, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, and 6 innings of work. He looks locked in. He looks comfortable. He in his 5 postseason starts, I believe he's only the 4th pitcher in MLB history to have 10 strikeouts and no runs given up in those starts in the time that he was in the game. I mean, he's locked in. He's pitching like the ace we knew he was. If he wasn't on the same team with Max Scherzer, he would have been starting the wild card game and, you know, been doing that. But I'm loving it. He broke his career record with wins. He got 18 wins. He broke his career record with strikeouts. I believe it's 248. So, I mean, it's a good thing to see. And if they can force going Game 5, you know who's taking the mound. So I have confidence. That's why I said Nats in 5. You just need Mad Max to do his thing tonight and be locked in like he was when he came in that game in the bottom of the 8th and struck out 3 Dodgers on 14 pitches. And if he can come in locked in like that tonight, I'm confident that Nats can go to LA, and with Strasburg on the mound, I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. The reason that they wanted to pitch Strasburg in an important Game 2 is, first of all, you need to get some wins. Yeah, so to try to force their Game 4 and 5. But the other thing was the manager said the biggest reason for it was that he could pitch him in Game 5 on regular rest. So I thought that was interesting. You know, then putting Max in this game in an inning, I was like, oh no, you know, the last time Max came in relief, that didn't work so well for them in the playoffs. He pitched so well that my opinion, I was like, if he can get it under 20 pitches, he could still pitch Game 3,
Yeah.
and he did it in 15 pitches, so it was under. But then I was sort of thinking, I'm like, man, should he have just finished this game? He was so dominant in that inning that I was like, oh man, like maybe you pitch him in Game 4 and you just let him finish it, and then you at least get the sure win.
But you have to give credit to Daniel Hudson too.
Yeah.
Daniel Hudson absolutely came in, and I know it got a little dicey towards the end, but considering all the stress the bullpen's put you guys through this year, Hudson did a really good job in that game, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. It was a little shaky for moments, and then that was really, I was like, oh crap, should we have kept Max in? But then I was like, oh no, we'll have him for Game 3, and then the decision to not pitch him in Game 3, is a little bit questionable, but I understand this is why you have 4 starting pitchers in a rotation, and why you could put a Corbin in relief. We'll obviously get into Game 3 in a second, but I thought that the manager pulled all the right strings in Game 2. I think Game 3, I think he tried to be ballsy again, and it just didn't work out for him. And I don't know if that's his fault or Corbin just isn't playing up to his potential. But why don't we just get into that Game 3 now? What are some of your thoughts on it?
You said a mouthful with that. Okay, before we get into that, I gotta give shout out to Davey Martinez. Everyone knows how critical I was of him last year, and my bro that passed away would always laugh and say that I'm racist towards Spanish folks or Mexican folks because I was so hard on Martinez. But gotta give that man credit for the season that he's had. We talked about going 12 games under 500 and only being the 9th team in Major League history to make the playoffs after being that far under 500. And the wild card game, he pulled the right strings with putting Zimmerman out there to make them switch pitchers and pulling them back and putting them back out there and choosing them in the right situation. As you mentioned, Game 2 pulled all the right strings at the right time. Daniel Hudson came in and got a little hairy, but he did the damn thing. But unfortunately, Game 3 with Corbin, it took a turn. The Nats had the advantage. Juan Soto hit a nice, beautiful home run in the first inning to give the Nats a lead. The Dodgers chipped away, made it 2-1. The Nats had 2 opportunities in the 4th and the 5th with 2 men on, with the man in running scoring position, and weren't able to get him home. And unfortunately, once they took out Sanchez, who pitched a pretty decent damn game. He gave him 5 innings with giving up 1 hit, 1 run, but I believe 2 hits. So he pitched well. He left the game in good position for the Nats. The issue was that they couldn't get any runs on Ryu after they got those 2 men on. He's a nasty pitcher, and he found the way to get out of those jams, and the Nats weren't able to take advantage. And then once they brought in Corbin, I like the move because Corbin is a left-hander. They were going up against a right-hander. That means they would have to adjust their lineup. They haven't had success against left-handers like that. And the first game, he only gave up 1 run. He had some minuscule ERA against them. So I thought it would play out better. When he got 2 outs, I was like, yeah, perfect. 2-1, about to get into the late innings. You got Doolittle, you got Rodney. Yeah, we're going to close this out and go up 2-1. But some reason, again, just like in the first inning of Game 1, he got 2 outs and couldn't get that last out. The ball strikes calls, it was close. So I'm not even going to say that the umps missed some calls. It was close, but he wasn't as dominant as we've seen him against the Dodgers in his previous team with Arizona in the previous 2 games he pitched with the Nats this year. So unfortunately, like you said, Davey pulled the string. Unfortunately, Corbin wasn't able to execute and get out of the inning clean, and the Dodgers put up 7 runs with 2 outs, which kind of is ironic, being that the Nats led the league with 2 outs scoring in the majors.
Right, yeah. So Corbin had allowed 4 hits. Sanchez allowed 4 hits. So in like 2/3 of an inning, he allowed the same amount of hits as Sanchez had through the first 5. Corbin did get those 2 strikeouts to start, but those 2 walks ended up really hurting him, and he got 6 earned runs. And Juan Suero comes in and gets another earned run. He's been kind of really, bad. I don't know.
Juan Suero's not great.
Yeah, I don't know why you put him in that pressure situation time and time again.
Whenever they bring him in early, whenever he's in the 8th, he's like better. But whenever they bring him in before the 7th or before the 8th, he never seems like he's comfortable. It's like he needs that high pressure situation for him to have his location because he has the heat. His problem is he just doesn't have the location when he's not comfortable out there. That's just what I've observed.
Right, and also I think he's better with coming in on a clean inning. At the beginning of the inning, he is really bad with inherited base runners. I just remarkably bad. So I think that has something to do with it, and just I think his nerves just get to him. I think he pays too much attention to the base runners and just doesn't dial it in and gets focused. And he's one of those pitchers where if it's just a couple of inches one way or another, he's very hittable. But if he, if he can get his slider together, he can get certain pitches, in the right sequence, he can be dominant. So it's a very up and down. But look at the stats right now. He has 27 ERA, and I mean I don't know if I'm putting him in, when you've already given up 6 runs in an inning when you're trying to get that last out. But hopefully Max can go long today, and we don't have to use too much of our bullpen. But I'm sure all hands will be on deck with this game. I know that they're going to try to not pitch Strauss because they want to have him for a Game 5 if we can get there. But I'm pretty sure that everybody else that's possibly available is going to be. So how he chooses to manage the thing, it's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. And I just hope that, Max has been okay in the playoffs before he was a national. He's never played particularly well except for that one inning we were just talking about. But it'll be interesting.
I still say that, if you want a game to win, Max Scherzer, just taking the guys on the national starting rotation, I'd still say Max Scherzer's your guy. I still say, we were debating this last week with the wild card game, whether it should have been Strasburg or Scherzer, and even though Scherzer struggled a little bit, he settled down in that game. I think he's the type of guy you want in a big winner-take-all game. You want your ace on the mound, and this is why you got Max Scherzer, to win these games. So this is who you want, honestly.
Yeah.
True. You want Max out there, but the same argument with the way Strasburg pitched all season, hasn't been injured, been consistent. Then he comes in the wild card game, does that damn thing, and then pitches game 2 like he did. I mean, he's just making a stronger argument with his performance that, okay, we won the wild card game, and I know who Max is, but hey, he might be number 1, but I'm 1A right now. God damn it, I didn't pay my dues. I got the stuff. I'm gonna show you how I can go out here and dominate. So later on in the playoffs, if they're still alive, and that decision comes up again in a 3 situation, and between those two, I don't know. That's going to be even tougher on Davey to make that decision to go to Max when you've seen what Strasburg can do, and if Max is able to do his thing tonight, and the Nats are able to force Game 5 and say Strasburg goes out and has another dominant performance and they advance, that's just going to make it tougher on Davey in the NLCS because you got 2 aces, you got the track record of Max, but then you have the actual performance of Strasburg and what he's doing right now. And do you really want to take that chance going up against St. Louis or an Atlanta if they're able to advance to the next round? And St. Louis just got a 1-out double in the bottom of the 8th. They're still trailing 4-3, looking to tie the score. And Ozuna is up the plate, and he's already hit 2 solo home runs today. With the man on, he can change the whole complexion of their season because they are down 2-1.
Yeah. Carol, do you know what channel TBS is on Fias? Random other question since that's an important one coming up.
Watching the HD channel 552.
552, thank you. All right, so I agree with what you're saying. The only caveat is obviously you have to do it based on who's got the rest, right? So, I mean, if you've got, Strasburg pitching a Game 5, probably with how it would come out, you'd probably have to play Max in a Game 1 because of you're probably not pitching him in back-to-back games. Yeah. So, yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's exciting. So again, this top of the 8th as Carol was talking. So I guess one of the games will move to TNT if we get to 6:40, and then this game isn't over.
Start the Nats game on TNT like last night or the other night, if I had to guess.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Day 1, so I would like that they did that. I'm superstitious, so we need everything to go the same way it did in Game 2.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thinking.
Yeah, I hadn't really fully considered that. So, so I'm just trying to. I think we've pretty much covered it. I think we're going to do a quick DC United update, and then we'll do any breaking baseball news, and then we'll try to get off the air here. So I'm pulling up the bracket for the MLS Cup here live on Twitch TV, also on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SportsOTHP. If you want to see the producer cam, I'm here live with Brian Brennan. So disappointing decision day for DC United.
Yes.
They came to a 0-0 decision,
0-0.
right?
Yep.
And that in itself isn't so bad, except for the fact that Toronto was able to win their game, and DC United was up 2 men for a big portion of this game.
I was going to say, the 0-0 is pretty bad, because they were playing Cincinnati, who's an expansion team. This is a game DC United really should have won. I mean, you're at home, last day of the season, you're playing one of the worst teams in Major League Soccer, an expansion team, and you lay an egg like that. Then at that, not even lay an egg to go up, 2 men against an expansion team, like I said, very bad result for DC United. Very bad, and now they're going to go into the playoffs and on kind of a disappointing effort like this and play Toronto. It's not going to be good, I don't think.
Yeah, so the way the seeding's breaking down, we'll just let people know if they're not watching it live and they're listening. So DC United moved from the 4th seed, which if they had won, they would have retained it, down to the 5th seed. And that's important because of the way that this bracket is set up. So DC United will play Toronto in round 1, and it's just a single game,
Correct.
right? Elimination. And then, is it...
They'll play NYCFC if they win in Toronto.
Right.
They'll go to play at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
And play NYCFC. And this is really not the result DC United wanted. Like I said, to lose your home game to Toronto like that, and now you have to go on the road to a place. Toronto just won the MLS Cup 2 years ago, so they're no slouch. And then even if they win past that, they have to play a very tough NYCFC team. I'm not liking the way things are looking right now.
Yeah, it's interesting that the 4-5 is automatically slated to play the 1. There's no reseeding in this. So even if like the Red Bull, which is the 6th seed, or I guess
New
it's
England
New England Revolutionary were to win, it doesn't get reseeded. So
Correct.
Philadelphia plays the Red Bull in the 3-6 matchup. Atlanta plays New England in the 2-7 matchup. Just real quickly on the west side, the LA.
Hey, real quick, we got breaking news in the NLDS. Yadier Molina came up with 2 outs and a man on second and hit a RBI single, broken bat RBI single in the right field for the Cardinals to tie the game up 4-4 in the bottom of the 8th. 2 outs with Molina on first base, and the Cardinals looking to try to take advantage with 2 outs and try to get a lead going into the top of the 9th to try to tie this series up.
That hit kind of reminds me of like the Soto hit in the sense that, it was of the one it was the wild card one that kept it going with Zimmerman, where he broke it and it just sort of blooped it over. That Zimmerman hit was huge. Overlooked a little bit. We didn't really talk about that, but how they were able to get those people on the base was huge leading up to the Soto hit. But this kind of reminded me a lot of that, where it just got over the infield and got just beyond the outstretched glove. It looked like he could have almost made a play on it.
Good game, good series.
Yeah, this is a good series. So LA Football Club has got the bye. And then it's is it Minnesota?
That's Minnesota versus the LA Galaxy. So I want LA Galaxy to win because I want the LA versus LA match.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That'd be great.
And then it's
Real Salt Lake versus the Portland Timbers, Seattle Sounders versus the FC Dallas.
Yeah, so it should be some interesting stuff. Hopefully DC United advances against Toronto. Is it this upcoming weekend, or do they skip a week?
There is an international week, so they're all on their international teams, and they'll come back and do the MLS playoffs.
Got it. So in 2 weeks, I guess we'll come back with the results on that. So thank you, Brian, for helping us break down.
Let's go Yanks.
Yeah. So all right, we're gonna go just back to the main screen here. It was a really good week overall for DC. I'm happy that the Mystics were able to get a clutch victory. I'm also happy that the Nationals are able to force this game 4. Without winning that game 2, we wouldn't have a pregame show tonight. I thought that Samsonov was great in his first appearance as a Capitals goaltender. And, of course, our biggest news was the Jay Gruden getting fired and the promotion of a Bill Callahan that Carroll has been talking about for 2 years. So finally we got to do it. So it's been a great day and week so far. And Carol, any final thoughts on any of the sports? I know that the Wizards are playing a preseason game tonight
against the Knicks.
Against the Knicks, right? Yeah. So in a game that I don't know how many people will be watching, but it's basketball and it's back.
It's sports.
It's sports.
Yeah.
So I think with all the other sports, it falls to like 5th or 6th on the list this week. But I'm happy to see that the Wizards are coming back, and I have to give a quick little shout out to Bradley Beal for a wonderful article you can find on our Facebook page, again, facebook.com/SportsOTHP, or search Sports on the Hill podcast. It was an incredible article written about how much the WNBA and women's basketball has inspired him to be the player he is today. It's something that's often overlooked. People are always like, oh, which NBA stars, were influential to you? And he said that many of them were, and his dream was to play in the NBA, but his mom was the person who taught him how to have a jump shot, and she played in college ball and was an assistant director. And it was just a really great article written by Bradley Beal, and so I highly recommend you guys go check that out. It got a lot of traction on Facebook when I shared it earlier, or right before the Mystics game where they won. So that was great as well. So shout out to Bradley Beal for not only being a great basketball player, but a great ambassador for the sport. People think that he might be a Mystics fan because it's trendy, but the day that he got drafted by the Wizards, he checked out who their WNBA team was, and he started going to their games immediately, sits courtside to a ton of their games. So it's not like he's just suddenly become a guy that shows up for them in the playoffs, but he loved the fact that the Mystics came to his games, and so he wanted to return that favor, and I think that's a really cool thing, and it's a storyline that maybe a lot of people don't know. So I highly recommend people to go check out that article as well. So, Carol, with that being said, and I think we've gotten through all the DC sports for this week, and there were a lot. Any final thoughts before we let people go and watch a very important Game 4?
You can actually turn on TNT right now. They have the pregame going for the Nationals. I just turned it on just now. Just want to say appreciate everybody tuning in, checking out the show, the pages, the page, the articles. We've had some of the most engagement we've had in a long time coming through our page. Appreciate all of it. And in celebration of Jay Gruden's departure from Redskins Park, I have to play a couple of sound bites that was one of the most classic episodes I did with Hurt on Hurt's house. And I just was going over the board, and I saw these, and I was like, I got to do this since Jay Gruden is no longer a Redskins coach, and we have to do with him. Why calling that play? What's wrong with you? Look at his face. That was one of my sound bites ever when me and Hurt was talking about Jay Gruden and his ineptitude almost 2 years ago on Hurt's house, and I had to get that sound bite on the board, and I'm going to use it going forward. Now that he's gone, I'm going to start using that when someone gets on my nerves. I'm going to have to hit the button. On that note,
well, Carol, before we go, before you end the Facebook feed, I just wanted you to give a shout out to Martinis real fast, and I wanted to point out that I will actually be in the house for probably the only game I'll be able to make it to this year against Miami. But I just wanted to give a shout out, and then people can join both of us down there this week.
Oh yeah, totally forgot. Good catch, Robbie. As always, Martinis Sunday from noon until the last game is over. Got good food, good drinks. 725 KG Drive, Fort Washington, Maryland. Come on down, check us out. We'll be there streaming pregame and postgame live. And no telling what else might go on down there. Come on down, got good wings, got tacos, got nice, strong drinks that you're going to need to watch the Redskins. But as I predicted and talked to folks, I believe you will see a totally different Redskins team on the field on Sunday, that they're going to be out there playing like they want to play because they finally got the cancer out of Redskins Park. And I'm not saying he was the root of all the problems at Redskins Park. I've been having debates all day with Redskins fans who's talking about fire Bruce Allen, boom, boom, boom. I'm not even going to get in there right now because we in baseball mode. I'll come back and talk about that later on. You might see a Facebook Live feed or something. Like I said, during the week, just to, troll some of these folks that's been telling me I didn't know what I was talking about. But I got to be me. CP3 is always going to back it up because if I got it on record, I'm going to throw it in your face when I'm right. And if I'm wrong, I have no problem saying I was wrong. That's what makes us different. But I'm going to go ahead and end this Facebook Live feed. Make sure you check out the webpage, SportsOTHP.com. Make sure you follow us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SportsOTHP. Check out the YouTube channel, CP3, Carol Porter III, 3 Eyes, not the number 3. And just keep following us, baby. We grown. We got some things in the works, and stay tuned for so much more. DC Sports without the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do.
And I just want to say, Ovechkin just threw out the opening pitch right there. So hopefully he brings some of that good luck with him. That was pretty cool to see that. And one other thing about the Miami game is the battle of two teams without a win. So it'll be interesting to see if Miami goes to 1-4 and pushing the Redskins to 0-6, or can the Redskins finally get off the schneid? I hope that they can. I have to say, in my predictions before the season started, I thought we would go 1-4, fire the coach, and then we were going to be able to win 7 games the rest of the season. So it'll be interesting to see. We won't go to 8-8 because 7 games wouldn't get us there, but it'll be interesting to see if we end up going 7-9 in the end, and I'm right. That would be fun. So again, Ovi just threw out the opening pitch, and so we'll end the podcast there. If you want to play some music to send us out, and then we'll definitely be back with more broadcasts throughout the week, and definitely be broadcasting pre- and post-game live from Martinis, as Carol was talking about just previously.
All right, no doubt. Let's go Nats. Let's hope for Game 5 and make me a profit again. Nats in 5. Let's go Nats, and we out.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me live on Twitch. It was fun getting the producer cam. Let's see, Carol with the awesome beat. But anyway, stay tuned for more on this Twitch channel. We're trying a whole lot of new stuff, trying a bunch of different videos, sources, scenes, and more. Lots more to cover on Twitch and on YouTube channel. Again, catch us all on SportsOTHP.com. Thanks, and have a great night.